The humble beginning. Garbage collector's son. N'Golo Kanté's incredible story doesn't begin under the dazzling floodlights of Stamford Bridge or the celebratory confetti of a World Cup final. It begins on the dusty, cramped streets of Rue Malmaison, a modest suburb just west of Paris. He was born in 1991 into an immigrant family that had moved to France from Mali. They lived in a tiny apartment block, a far cry from the luxury that would later be his by right. His father passed away when N'Golo was just 11, leaving his mother to raise him and his 8 siblings in poverty. The loss was profound, forcing N'Golo to grow up fast. To help his family survive and earn a few precious euros, young N'Golo took on the toughest, most thankless job he could find. He became a garbage collector. Every day, he walked the long routes of his neighborhood, pushing a heavy cart, collecting and sorting recyclable waste. This work was hard. It was often embarrassing, but it was honest. It taught him the brutal physical reality of earning a living. While other kids were focused solely on the game, N'Golo was focused on the grind, the early mornings, and the weight of responsibility. His earliest football pitch was the bare earth, rock-strewn field near his home. He wasn't playing to be a star. He was playing for pure, uncomplicated joy. He was small, skinny, and desperately quiet, a ghost on the field whose feet moved faster than his words. This early life, the physical labor, the quiet humility, the constant need to work hard just to survive, would forge the iron core of his character. The irony is profound. The future engine of championship teams was, quite literally, pushing the weight of the world on his back, working in the shadows before he learned to dominate the center of the pitch. The grinding years. As N'Golo pursued football, the struggle shifted from financial hardship to a crushing battle against prejudice and doubt. His talent was undeniable, but his size was a permanent barrier. In the world of youth football, coaches and scouts are trained to look for certain physical attributes: height, bulk, speed. Kante possessed only one of those, the speed, but even that was masked by his small stature. He was constantly told he was too small, too light, and not physical enough to make it in the professional game. He went to multiple trials, enduring rejection after rejection. Major Parisian clubs and academies dismissed him without a second thought, seeing only a fleeting figure, not a future champion. This struggle forced Kante to rely solely on what the eye couldn't immediately measure: his engine and his intelligence. He developed an unparalleled work rate, running relentlessly not just to tackle, but to cover every blade of grass, filling the gaps his lack of height couldn't. He learned to read the game 3 passes ahead, intercepting the ball before his opponent even realized the danger. His small body became his strength, agile, low to the ground, and incredibly difficult to dispossess. At the age of 20, an age when most top players are already establishing themselves in major academies, Kante was still toiling in the 10th tier of French football with a club named JS Serein. He was considered a late bloomer, a diamond hidden under layers of doubt. He was so quiet that his teammates and coaches rarely heard him speak. He would arrive, train harder than anyone, and leave, often overlooked even in his own dressing room. His first real break came when he was finally spotted by Boulogne, a professional club in the French 3rd Division, National. Even there, he was relegated to the B team. When he was finally promoted to the first team, his contract was for a meager $1,500 per month. It was barely more than he made pushing a garbage cart, but it was validation. It showed that his quiet, tireless effort was finally paying off. The true ordeal of Kante's career was not injury or failure, but the soul-crushing experience of having world-class talent and spending years being ignored simply because he did not fit the physical blueprint of a champion. He had to be twice as good just to be considered equal. He was the perpetual underdog, defined by the noise of the doubt that surrounded his silence. Kante's moment of ascension was less a sudden explosion and more a quiet invasion. He was so effective he simply couldn't be ignored any longer. After a solid season in the French 2nd tier with Caen, he was plucked from relative obscurity by Leicester City for the 2015-2016 English Premier League season. The transfer fee was a modest $5.6 million. To the world, he was an unknown quantity. The move to Leicester was the catalyst that changed football history. Kante became the literal engine of one of the greatest sporting miracles of all time. He partnered with Danny Drinkwater in midfield, and together they covered an astonishing amount of ground. Kante's running was legendary. It was said that 71% of the earth is covered by water and the rest is covered by Kante. His stats were staggering. He led all 5 major European leagues in tackles, 175, and interceptions, 157. He didn't just win the ball, he won it back immediately, time and time again. He was the invisible force that transformed a team of relegation candidates into Premier League champions, a feat so improbable it defied 5,000 to 1 odds. His role was simple, yet profound. He did all the difficult, unglamorous work that allowed stars like Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez to score and shine. He was the hero who never looked for the spotlight. The success brought immediate recognition, but even fame couldn't change his nature. When other players upgraded to flashy sports cars, Kante bought a modest second-hand Mini Cooper, the car he continues to drive today. The following season, he moved to Chelsea, commanding a much higher fee, and immediately repeated the feat. He became the first player since Eric Cantona in 1993 to win back-to-back English League titles with 2 different clubs. He was voted the PFA Player of the Year, officially establishing him as the best player in England. The boy who was told he was too small was now the most valuable player in the toughest league in the world, proving that true power comes from will, not just height. The unseen battle and the price. Success did not bring peace to N'Golo Kanté. It brought a new set of challenges, the responsibility of being a national icon and the difficulty of maintaining his private, humble life under a microscope. The biggest challenge came during the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Kante was the undisputed starter for France, the defensive screen that anchored the entire squad. He was spectacular throughout the tournament, playing every minute up to the final. He was the team's security blanket, quietly extinguishing every danger. Yet in the final against Croatia, Kante was not himself. He was struggling with a stomach issue and a fever, a secret he kept to himself. In the first half, his usual superhuman energy was missing, and he was eventually substituted out. While his teammates went on to win the World Cup 4-2, Kante had to watch the celebration from the bench, knowing he hadn't contributed in the way he wanted. When the final whistle blew, the celebration began. In one of the most famous moments, Kante, true to form, was too shy to touch the World Cup trophy. While his teammates jostled for a picture with the gold cup, Kante stood shyly on the edge of the circle. It took the intervention of his teammate, Steven Nzonzi, who physically took the trophy and passed it to Kante, forcing him to take a moment of glory he had so clearly earned. The price of his fame was the constant battle against the spotlight he never wanted. Stories of his humility became legendary. He missed a flight and ended up going to a mosque where he was recognized by fans who then invited him to their home for dinner and to watch Match of the Day. He accepted, eating curry, watching football, and talking about life with strangers. He refused to hire a financial advisor for years, preferring to manage his own money simply. He was one of the last French players to receive a commercial sponsorship because he genuinely didn't care about selling products. In an era of brash athletes and loud displays of wealth, Kante's greatest battle was simply remaining N'Golo. His quiet fight to stay grounded became his most defining feature, making him a beloved figure across all fan bases, celebrated not just for his talent, but for his pure, unblemished spirit.